it to make time for your feelings, but you have to admit I already do. Let's just break it down to you and me uptown.
Hey, yeah, coming up, 6 minutes, folks.
Can see your anger is misplaced, and I'm gonna tell ya, don't hate me 'cause I get attention. Don't turn me into what I'm not. I have to be me 24/7, and I ain't.
Aye, another quiet day, politically, huh? Right, okay, coming up in about 5-6 minutes, people. Resign! You REMORON! Yeah, guess what? Yeah.
No, and I ain't never gonna stop. Come on, listen to me. I've tried so many times to tell you this is as good as I can be. Why isn't it enough to be faithful and also be the hit of the party? Let's just break it down to you and me uptown, dancing all around till the disco ball pops. But I have to be me, and everyone can see your anger is misplaced, and I'm gonna tell you,
All copyright free, Facebook, yeah.
because I get attention. Don't turn me into what I'm not. I have to be me 24/7, and I ain't never gonna stop. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Never gonna stop. No, 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 no. Yeah, 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 yeah. I ain't never gonna stop. No, no. Oh, I ain't never gonna stop.
We want you to stop! We want you to stop!
I ain't never gonna stop now, baby. Never gonna stop now, baby. Yeah, yeah.
Just have a bloody heart attack, a stroke or something. Put your hand in a toaster!
I ain't never gonna stop now, baby. Woo-hoo. Never gonna stop now, baby.
Not that I'm frustrated. 3 minutes, people.
We're better off as strangers. Believe me when I say, loving me is loving danger. Your heart is bound to break. I walk alone in the night, neath the pale moon. Loving's for the fools. Baby, beware of my body. I'm alone, I'm alone, I'm a lone wolf.
You're watching an archive version, folks, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, or Vim. And hey, Vim, streaming out to you guys for the first time today, and wonderful to be with you. I'll tell you, I've got a lot of time for what you guys are doing. Vim.tv. Then just fast forward if you're watching. Well, you can't watch an archive on Vim, actually. It's live only. But on YouTube and Facebook, just fast forward a few minutes and
Creeping through the shadows and the corners of your mind. I go with the wind blows. I run but I don't hide. lone wolf. I'm a lone wolf.
She's a bloody wolf in sheep's clothing. In fact, she's a wolf in wolf's clothing. With wolfskin shoes, probably. 1 minute, people. Oh, is that it? Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. That'll do. Hello. Hold on. Oh, yeah. Okay. Aye. Hey, folks. Good evening, good people. Welcome to the Daily Brexit. Officially back today. Holding democracy to account, fighting for self-determination and exposing Theresa May! I'm Olly Connelly. Thanks for turning up. And now, resign! You REMORON! Surprise, surprise, Theresa May has been forced to postpone the vote for treason. The vote to give the EU a veto over our national future. She's lost about, 20 ministers. I have lost count. She's wasted the nation's time, treasure, potential. And she remains hell-bent on selling us down the river. So why the bloody hell is she still in office? Conservative Party! Never gonna vote for any of you again, I swear! Never again! I'm chewing over the lack of representation at Westminster. Yeah, Labour and Lib Dems. You too, yeah? Never again! And the fascism in Brussels. And taking your calls on UK national number 033 000 11264. You can pop on Discord, gov.ly rant as well. Thank you. And kick up some dust in the comments. Thank you for supporting free speech. PayPal.me/Brexit. Okay, all right. Oh, we got Tom popped in on Discord. Let's have a quick listen to see what the old cow said.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And with permission, I'd like to make a statement on exiting the European Union. We've now had 3 days of debate on the withdrawal agreement, setting out the terms of our departure from the EU and the political declaration setting out our future relationship after we have left. I've listened very carefully to what has been said in this chamber and out of it. To what has been said in
Cynical Bilderberger
by members from all sides. From listening to those views, it is clear that while there is broad support for many of the key aspects of the deal, on one issue, the Northern Ireland backstop, there remains widespread and deep concern.
The EU veto.
If we went ahead and held the vote tomorrow, the deal would be rejected by a significant margin. We will therefore defer the vote scheduled for tomorrow and not proceed to divide the House at this time.
So she knows she's going to lose. I mean, it's obvious, but anyway.
Last week, the reasons why the backstop is a necessary guarantee to the people of Northern Ireland, and why, whatever future relationship you want, there is no deal available that does not include the backstop.
Let's be clear, yeah. Let's be clear. We did not have to enter this territory, this backstop territory at all, if that Remainer had not allowed the EU to ride roughshod over due process in our exit from the EU, which they did by refusing to allow us to discuss the divorce and future trade. in parallel. Those parallel talks. She conceded that. She didn't have to. Look at the state of EU rope. Yeah, that kind of, not true Europe, EU rope. Look at the state of it. It is on its knees. It is imploding. Irrespective of Brexit, she did not have to concede that point. And even having done so, guess what? Then the Irish border comes into the equation. It's a trade issue. It's got nothing to do with a divorce agreement. It's a trade issue. It stems from the fact that she would not discuss those things or insist on the discussion of those two talks in parallel. That's the reason we're here now. She could have pointed that out. As soon as they piped up this big red herring about the Northern Irish border, she could have piped up and said, it's a trade issue. If you want to talk trade now, that's great. But if you don't, bugger off! Let me carry on.
Behind all those arguments are some inescapable facts. The fact that Northern Ireland shares a land border with another sovereign state.
Red herring!
The fact that the hard-won peace that has been built in Northern Ireland over the last 2 decades has been built around a seamless border. And the fact that Brexit...
And that's between the UK and Ireland. The EU should bugger off. Why on earth should they have any say whatsoever between this, yes, very personal matter, but within the British Isles? It's a matter for us and for our neighbours. But that Varadkar bloke, he's just another EU cretin, just like her.
We'll create a wholly new situation. On the 30th of March, the Northern Ireland border will for the first time become the external frontier of the European Union's single market and customs union. The challenge this poses must be met, not with rhetoric, but with real and workable solutions. Businesses operate across that border. People live their lives crossing and recrossing it every day. I've been there and spoken to some of those people. They do not want their everyday lives to change as a result of the decision we have taken. They do not want a return to our hard border. And if this House cares about preserving our union, it must listen to those people, because our union will only endure with their consent.
I'm getting news in from Lisa Whitney. God bless you, Lisa. And hey, say hi to Triangle, yeah, from me, please. Breaking news, Labour is going for no confidence now. Wow. A link, please. Lisa, a link.
We had hoped that the changes we've secured to the backstop
About bloody time.
would reassure members that we could never be trapped in it indefinitely. I hope the House will forgive me if I take a moment to remind it of those changes. The customs element of the backstop is now UK-wide. It no longer splits our country into 2 customs territories. This also means that the backstop is now an uncomfortable arrangement for the EU, so they won't want it to come into use or persist for long if it does. Both sides are now legally committed to using best endeavours to have our new relationship in place before the end of the implementation period, ensuring the backstop is never used. If our new relationship isn't ready, we can now choose to extend the implementation period, further reducing the likelihood of the backstop coming into use. If the backstop ever...
You know, the only real backstop here is the backstop to keep the UK in the EU. That's the real backstop. That's the backstop that they're putting in place. It's got nothing to do with anything else. They just want our money. Oh, and our army, and our navy, and that thing up there, the drones, whatever.
Ever does come into use, we now don't have to get the new relationship in place to get out of it. Alternative arrangements that make use of technology could be put in place instead. The treaty is now clear that the backstop can only ever be temporary, and there is now a termination clause. But I am clear, from what I have heard in this place and from my own conversations, that these elements do not offer a sufficient number of colleagues the reassurance that they need. I spoke to a number of...
Yeah, no, it's fine. Just gamble with our future. Just gamble with everything that we have. It's fine. It's fine. A few concerns.
EU
Yeah.
leaders over the weekend, and in advance of the European Council, I
Unbelievable.
will go to see my counterparts in other member states and the leadership of the Council and the Commission. I will discuss with them the clear concerns that this House has expressed. We are also looking closely at new ways of empowering the House of Commons to ensure that any provision for a backstop has democratic legitimacy and to enable the House to place its own obligations on the government, to ensure that the backstop cannot be in place indefinitely. Mr. Speaker, having spent the best part of 2 years poring over the detail of Brexit, listening to the public's ambitions and, yes, their fears too, and testing the limits of what the other side is prepared to accept, I'm in absolutely no doubt that this deal is the right one. It honours the result of the referendum.
Order. The remainder of the statement must be heard, and I invite the House to hear it with courtesy, and for the avoidance of doubt...
Oh, balls. It's a lot of old cock is what it is. Right, okay, so basically we know the deal. She's postponed it because she knows she's going to lose it. Not just lose it, but lose it by an absolute landslide that would force her out. And then, whoa, we might actually have a Brexiteer in charge of the... I mean, hey, here's hoping, yeah. But certainly you couldn't be... Whoever it is that takes over, they can't do what she's done. She has ensured that the kind of deal that she's been going after cannot be pursued now. And so it's inconceivable that we could have another Conservative who could be quite as traitorous as has been she. So anyway, yeah, so I'm hearing that there is Labour is calling for and this wasn't live, by the way. That wasn't live. I can't just pause Theresa May like that and then get her to start again. She is a robot. Somebody evidently can, but not me. I don't have those powers. But yeah, okay, all right. That was about an hour ago, about a couple of hours ago, I think. And so we know the deal. She basically is running scared, as predicted. And she knows damn well that the best way to try and screw us as a country and is to just keep kicking the can down the road, buying time. What they've done all the last 2.5 years, 2.5 years of national time. She should be out on her ear. Never mind being, out as PM. She should be being deselected. She should be being tried for treason, is the reality of the matter. Okay, I can't repeat many of your comments because they're even more rude than mine. Craig Workman says, you British should go all Australian on the PM and fire her for no reason at all. Loom at our last five. Look at our last 5 PMs. Yeah, no, the Australians, they have got some form on this. It has to be said. It's just a shame that everyone that takes over is another bloody globalist. But nonetheless, maybe they're beginning to get the message there. Alice Hunter says she's a bloody nutcase. She actually is not mad though, is she? She's a psycho. Well, therefore, yes, she is mad. She's a psychopath. It's the only way. She has no empathy. She's got no sense of humor. There's a good clue. I'm actually tempted to say that she's more dangerous than Tony Blair. But if he was in power, he would be worse. But nonetheless, I cannot think of anybody more evil in the kingdom except Tony Blair. And she has absolutely proven it by just not representing the British people and putting EU foreign interests before those of ours. Aaron Bacon, Dennis Skinner's confrontation on Theresa May was classic. and even quoting Thatcher to do it. She is frit. Oh, you can just hear him saying it. Oh, Dennis Skinner. God bless him. Mind you, I think he's done pretty well out of politics as well, isn't he? A millionaire or something. But yeah, no, for him to quote Thatch. Aye. Anthony Pobyaratsin. I think I got your name right today, sir. Labour can't even tie their own shoelaces. That's right. I mean, there's no consolation with a Labour government. Far from it. Can you imagine having Starmer or Hilary Benn in charge? Because they'd kick Corbyn out as soon as they got power. By hook or by bullet or what? They would get rid of Corbyn, who is relatively sane when it comes to the EU, and they would put one of these real out-and-out bastards in power to keep us in. Again, more psychos. People that just do not care, that are very, very happy to ride roughshod brazenly on the wishes of the British people. Jennifer Murphy says, nice to see Daily Brexit back. Jennifer, it's lovely to be back. Thank you. Charlotte Jameson, only Kara's comments are unbroadcastable. Maureen Smith, hi Ollie, long time no see. Hey Maureen. Alice Hunter, she keeps saying about deals. She can't deal. Easy as that. Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any mistake here. These people are not stupid. They're desperate, maybe, and clearly, because it's so obvious that they're going against the wishes of the people. But nonetheless, I don't think that they're stupid. I think they're bought. And I think that possibly they've been conditioned for a very, very long time. That kind of Obama syndrome, where they've been prepped into this kind of position to create the kind of ruination of their own cultures, well, not theirs really, that we're seeing. Karen Potts, again, I ask, why is no one talking about our illegal entry into the EU, referring to the fact that Ted Heath covered up the FCO 301048, no doubt, Lord Kilmuir's letter, no doubt. And indeed, according to Tim Fortescue, Heath's chief, not chief, but one of his whips of that government, that very government that took us into the EEC, admitted that MPs were blackmailed into supporting the government's policy, including to get into the EEC, because they were buggering little boys, and they were depraved, and it was easy to get them to vote in line or else go down. That's what's been going on. Tim Fortescue, who shared an office with Ken Clarke, the now father of the house. No questions from the BBC to Ken Clarke about that, is there? No, quite right, Jennifer. You're absolutely right. Damn right. My biggest problem with Farage is that he never brings up these things. And indeed, it makes you wonder. Every single treaty since, such as Maastricht, for example, what do they have on John Major? Yeah, Lisbon. What do they have on Gordon Brown? All the others as well. We know that Tony Blair's middle name, he was known as Miranda at college. Charles Linton was charged for indecency in a public toilet. That's Tony Blair. No, absolutely. I completely agree with you. What is the truth of this VIP paedophilia that has been orchestrated, not necessarily just in the UK, but I suspect countries across Europe, parachuting in depravity into these seats and these seats of power, that then we end up with this kind of tyranny, because none of it makes any sense. It's entirely illogical. None of it is logical. Why do you need another layer on the political onion? You don't. All we wanted was a trade body. Marka Adams. Ollie, sorry, I don't know you. What's your view on Brexit? I think you've just about got it, sir. Are you for or against the Brexit? I'm for freedom. I'm for self-determination and independence. I am for nation states, each of us, whether it's France, Germany, Greece, wherever, to be able to look out for their own people
with independence, with their culture being preserved. The EU is a fascist regime. It's a fascist regime run by proven fascists, the likes of whom, for example, young Claude Juncker used to run a tax haven, Luxembourg. He specialized in setting up cozy deals for corporates who didn't even have much of a business interest in his country, so they could pay bugger all tax, the Amazons of this world, the eBays of this world, so that regular folks like us would have to fill the shortfall and pay their tax to get the roads fixed. And guess what? We've got shortages in police, the NHS, etc., etc., etc. I hate the EU, yeah? I despise the EU with a vengeance. And I think I just answered your question, sir. Carry. Wants me to say power. Right. Are you kidding? Aaron Bacon, even Alex Jones and InfoWars are covering Europe and the high-vis tornado. The yellow jackets, huh? That is growing in strength. Well, I should think so, because we are on the brunt of globalization here. Well, they are stateside too. We're seeing it with this massive attack on the popular vote, which is basically to try and drain the swamp. Whether or not Trump himself is going to do it, irrespective of that, that's what people voted for. And there's an onslaught against it. We're all being called fascist and right-wing. And we're people that care. We're people that care about our culture and other cultures probably too. Oh, but we also understand that there are various other cultures that will not integrate with ours, and that's a problem as well. Alice Hunter, when we need a new car, it's a foregone conclusion my hubby can't deal. So I go in and deal. Because we already know this. We never waste time. I do the dealing. There's no bad thinking about it. It is what it is. Well, cool, Alice. And say hi to your husband. Dean Johnson, correct. Joining the EU was unconstitutional. David Laddie says, Ollie wants us to remain, Mark. Anne-Marie Weilman, did May sign the UN Migration Pact today whilst distracting us? Very good question. I don't know. We know that she wants to, that she's intimated so. Again, this is treason. When you consider, I mean, personally, it was mainly about sovereignty. But yeah, migration's a massive issue as well. I had to go to the bank today. This morning, I spent half the morning in the bank because my credit card, somebody had got the details, and there were 9 payments to some company in Germany, a train company or a bus company or something. 9 payments, 9 journeys bought the same day. Very, very curious. It seems to me that what's happening is organized crime is nicking our credit card details, and then they're selling them to migrants so that they can then, probably make their way to Calais. Stuff like that, yeah. Migration's a problem too. But yeah, did she sign the UN Migration Pact? I don't know. But the fact that she's even intimating that she wants to do that, it is so against what we said at the ballot box or the referendum, huh? It's the complete opposite to what we said. We want to try and preserve what we got. And guess what? Charity begins at home. If you don't look after what you got, you're no good to anybody else. I'm sorry. I'm more up antsy, if you like, than normal today. Blimey, I got a microclimate going on inside this shirt. But this woman's got to go. She's an absolute hatchet job on democracy. The fact that Westminster's putting up with her in any way, shape, or form goes to show what a useless bunch of non-representative cretins they are. Dean Johnson. No foreign prince, he's quoting here, no foreign prince, person, prelate, state, or potentate hath or ought to have any jurisdiction, power, superiority, preeminence, or authority, ecclesiastical or spiritual, within this realm. That's the English Declaration of Rights. So it can be clearly seen, he goes on, Dean Johnson, that every EU treaty opposed upon us by Parliament is unconstitutional. Here is the evidence that our present monarch has indeed, and then he stops. And that was great. I was looking forward to reading what else you had to say, but then he stopped. There are a few people calling for the hangman. Paul, including me, by the way, frankly, if found guilty in a fair trial, you better not put me on the jury. Paul Hart, they're involved in a high-profile paedophile ring. That's why they are desperate for EU protection. And I think there's a lot to be said for that. These people are cornered tigers. Because we don't just want Brexit now, do we? We want to make sure this doesn't happen again. It's like Iraq, yeah? Tony Blair should have decomposed years ago. The fact that we have people like that still involved in politics, and some folks think that Tony Blair is being mooted as the next EU president, for God's sake. We see it in the mainstream media talking about Tony Blair's political rebirth. How can you even consider such a thing? How can you even consider having such a demented sociopath back in politics? How can you even give him a pedestal? How can you allow him to be in print? In The Guardian or The Observer? The hypocrisy of these people makes me want to puke. I need to calm down. I apologise. Paul Hart, they're involved in a high-profile paedophile ring. That's why they're so desperate for EU protection. Quite possibly that's why they don't talk much about paedophile gangs, for example, as well. Because it's just, it's all kind of part of this kind of chaos, auto ab KO thing, distraction. Paul Hart says Satan worshipping. Nothing would surprise me. I don't know the reality of that, but nothing would surprise me. Nigel Brown, I'm calling it the Ann Summers party. And Daz Butterfield simply says freedom. Paul Hart, why do you think everything has to be done in secret? Yeah. Jennifer Murphy says that the letter emerged how Heath put us in illegally, so we're not really in. They owe us millions. Yeah, I think that's the Kilmuir letter. No, Karen, if it's something else, please point it out. I'd like to know. Karen Potts, drunker. I'm going to call him that from now on. Yeah, well, the other one begins with a W. Mark Painter's wondering what my gripe is. Alice Hunter, what gets me is a full party are watching their own party die. What the hell are they doing? Well, I mean, they are, aren't they? But then again, maybe they're just thinking about the long game here. Because party politics in the UK will be largely dead at a national level with this trajectory. There's no point in having Westminster, is there? Because if we listen to what Angela Merkel and her Macroni, the kind of things that they're saying, they are desperate. They're talking, they're even saying that there's something evil about nation states now. So they just want to create a bigger nation state that they control. So, party politics on a national level would be basically dead. Maybe they know this. Maybe the Tories, etc., they realise this, and they're just thinking, how do we get on the gravy train in Brussels? It makes you wonder. It really, really makes you wonder. But I do worry about the level of intelligence with the Tory grassroots that they're not kicking up more of a fuss. I know that they are kicking up some of a fuss. I've read about that, about, I don't know, a large percentage of grassroots are dissatisfied, I understand. But where were they on yesterday? Why weren't they? This seems like so long ago now. Every day is so long now in terms of politics. Do you remember when they used to say a week was a long time in politics? An hour is a long time in politics now. Where were the Tory grassroots yesterday? Where are they organising their marches? I fear for their sanity if they have any time whatsoever for what's going on and what they're seeing. They had a Tory conference. Why weren't they chanting in the audience, "Go, go, go"? Incredible, unbelievable. I don't know. People are asleep. Head in the sand, and the tide's coming in. Alice Hunter, yeah, they are. They're watching their party die because people like me will never ever vote for them again. And nor LibLab, nor the Labour lot, or the bloody Lib Dems, illiberal anti-democrats, more like. Aaron Bacon, Sky News rolling ticker tape along the bottom of the screen states Labour Party to put down a motion of no confidence in PM. Well, I don't know politically, if anybody does, what that would mean as opposed to the vote being called by the Tory backbenchers off the back of the 1922 receiving the 48 letters calling for a vote of no confidence. It does seem to me that it wouldn't make any difference except that it gives the Labour Party the moral high ground to say, we're the ones that called for her to go, not those idiots on the other benches. This could be a problem because we do not want a Labour government. I still think that we have a better chance of achieving Brexit with a Tory government, just not with May, with someone like Boris Johnson, not necessarily for the right reasons. I don't think he's an honest man, personally. I think that he was a fraud during that referendum. Again, he never talked about the reasons we went into the EU, did he? I think he's another fraud. However, I also think that he's backed himself into a corner that would be very, very difficult for him to get out of if he was PM, that therefore he would have to deliver Brexit and might just enjoy doing it because he's got that big hard-on for a kind of a Churchillian legacy, hasn't he? And he'd get it. He'd get it. He could be a brilliant... He'd be on a statue, on a plinth in Trafalgar Square if he did deliver. Anyway, oh, blimey, look at that. John Bercow. I'm sorry, I've been subjecting you to John Bercow for the last 10, 15 minutes. I do apologise. I have to say, though, in fairness to the House, the main Burke in the House, I do have to say that he did come up with some fine words saying, now I'm paraphrasing here, but off the back of what Theresa said today, he did say something along the lines of, this is all most peculiar. This is diplomatic language, bear in mind. There is something most peculiar that this vote can be postponed. Members of the House might feel somewhat affronted by this. In other words, what the bloody hell are you doing, love? Which I thought was quite good. Yeah. Baron Pauli von Kasserberg. Hey, Baron. Just in time for Crimbo. And the government is scared shitless, frankly, of what's going on in Europe. Oh, and guess what happens next? The toilet paper's gone. Hi. Your comment's just gone above the parapet. I can't see that now. Hold on a sec. I'm going to come down to more recent comments so that stops happening. Right, okay. Claire Morris says, at least you can vote Labour out after 5 years. Yeah, but Claire, 5 years? Come on. I mean, you can see how much is going on day by day politically. Okay, a lot of it's Groundhog Day, but there's a lot of stuff that is going on nonetheless on a daily basis. 5 years of a Labour government? No way. I'll tell you what, if we had Keir Starmer in charge, which we will, or Hilary Benn, it will be far, far, far worse than what we have now. I truly believe that. The Blairites, I think, make this government look relatively innocent. And all you have to do is look at the war dead that they've chalked up and that they don't talk about, that they don't care about in Iraq. 1 million dead, and the Blairites are, yeah, it's fine. Let's give them an interview. Get them on the BBC. No. Far more dangerous. We do not want that. Quite aside from the fact that the likes of Corbyn and Diane Abbott is ex, they can't add up. They got no idea how to use an abacus, let alone a calculator. Claire Morris, at least you can vote Labour out after 5 years. Aye. Nigel Brown says it's exit, not Brexit. Yeah, fair play. Whatever it is, it's basically getting out. It's getting out. It's retaining our sovereignty. No, sorry, it's retrieving our sovereignty. Jay Roden, Donald Tusk just tweeted again saying no change on the Irish border. Bugger you, we don't give a stuff what you have to say, Tusk. You're not even British. Irish, English, Welsh, Scottish, you're none of them. Bugger off. Don't give a damn what you have to say. Tweet away. And what a pity the demonstrators that tried to get into the EU Parliament the other day, on Saturday, didn't manage it. Who knows? They might have found the accounts that don't exist. Not signed off ones anyway. Joe Bloggs, maybe look at his voting past and revise that statement, replying to Daz, who says, Mog is the man. You see, again, whatever the truth is about Mog, because some people would say that he has controlled opposition, I don't trust any of them until they're tried and tested, personally. But I'd like to think the best of all of them. Some of them, clearly, we can't. And many of them, clearly, it's obvious that they are absolutely anti-democratic. In the case of Moggy, it's a bit like Boris. He has painted himself into a corner with what he's been talking about. And it's hard to see how those guys, or David Davis to a slightly lesser extent, I would say, but I think he's a better man, but that's intuition and I might be wrong. It's these characters, they have painted themselves into a corner, and it's hard to see how they could get out of it and backtrack. They would know that there really, really would be serious riots going on at that stage. Maybe that's what they want, though. Oh, that's another story. It does make you wonder, doesn't it? Is this the end game? Are they just do they want the chaos and they can bring in martial law? And I don't know that we're at that stage yet. Blimey. Paul Simon Marks, as far as I'm aware, if her party calls it, it's change of PM. If Labour call it, then it's general election. This is the vote of confidence. Blimey. Well, if that is the case, I think we can be pretty sure that the Tories will be doing their best. I don't know. I mean, I think that there are many Tories, the Subras, the Greaves, the Dominic Greaves of the Tory party, that would like to see Labour in charge. They'd like to see someone like Keir Starmer in charge, rather than have the Tories in power. Okay, all right. Let's have a look and see how this is being covered in the media one way and another. UK's May, this is according to Reuters. UK, so this is Fake Stream's take on things. UK's May pulls the vote on her divorce deal, thrusting Brexit into the unknown. Hold on a sec. Let's just see who have we got here on Discord. If you want to call in, folks, and give us your view, please do. The number's at the bottom of the screen, and it's in the top above the piece or whatever, in the description to the piece. If you don't, that number's a UK local, UK national number. If you're calling using Skype, it won't cost you a penny because it's actually a Skype number. But we've got Splitter here, and we got Tom here too on Discord. I don't know if either of you gents can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you okay, Ollie.
Hey, Splitter, how are you, man?
Yeah, doing good, mate, doing good.
Good on you. What do you think about events today? Anything particular?
I think it's a total... I think the whole of Parliament is corrupt and they're all pissing in each other's pockets, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a good way of putting it. Pissing in each other's pockets. What would you like to say? What would you like to say particularly?
Well, the sooner we can get rid of her, the better. But I mean, who's going to go in that place? Javid, bloody Gove, Leedsom's even proved to be a turncoat now.
Yep, she has. And Gove. Tabby Jabid, I don't know, blimey. I mean, is he going to swear in on the Quran?
Well, it says in the Bill of Rights that it's unlawful.
Yes, it does.
For anybody to take office whose parents weren't both born in the UK, and yet he's in office.
Yes. Okay. Look, you pipe up anytime you like, Splitter. It's lovely to have input from other folks. So please do. I'm just going to go through this story from Reuters a little bit, see if there's any little snippets here. British Prime Minister Theresa May on Monday abruptly postponed a parliamentary vote on her Brexit deal on Monday, throwing Britain's plan to leave the European Union into chaos after admitting that she faced a rout. I don't think it does leave it in chaos. I think it leaves the government in chaos. I think it leaves Westminster in chaos. But personally, I'd be very, very happy. I would be ecstatic to see a no deal because that's what I voted for. That is what Brexit or leave is. It's WTO. It's a WTO deal. It's a deal that the EU cannot dictate. That's been dictated with international treaty. And it's good. It's fine. And it means that we can spread our wings and so on and so forth. And guess what? The car makers in Germany, the food producers throughout the continent, they are going to say, oh no, hold on a sec. We're going to lose our biggest trading partner here because they've got the trade surplus. We've got the deficit. What a trump card. Theresa May's just thrown that away on purpose. On purpose. A WTO deal is not a problem. It's not a problem. People say, oh, no deal. Look, you know what? I think that planes in France, they need to fly over the UK to get to the United States and vice versa. I think we'd have American support, yeah? As soon as we breathe true, no deal, i.e. WTO deal, there's no question whatsoever in my mind that the EU will scramble before they're lynched, before they're reminded what their job supposedly is by the nation states that they are supposed to be there to support. We know that's all a lie. Nonetheless, that's the reality. And we're already seeing this disillusionment. When you see people trying to get up the steps of the EU Parliament to storm that building, these high-vis in Belgium, We know that the tide has turned. We know that Brexit is only one part of the problem that the EU faces, that the nation states, never mind the governments, they're all bought. The people, the unions, the car workers, the wine producers, etc., etc. Those people want jobs. They want trade. It's not a problem. You know this. I don't know why I'm saying this. You know all this. May's move on the eve of the scheduled parliamentary vote opens up an array of possible outcomes, ranging from a disorderly Brexit with no deal to another referendum on EU membership. They're selling that. They're selling that. How any rag can be selling anti-democracy is an insult to us all, but they are. I just wanted to point that out. May's own position could be in jeopardy. Could be! With calls from opposition parties for her to step aside. She was found to be in contempt last week. It's an absolute disgrace that she's still in number 10. It's an insult to us all the British. It is an insult.
Yeah, Ollie.
Go on, Splitter.
Yeah, in effect, Parliament's meant to be a court, and how come Tommy Robinson got jailed for being in contempt, but none of them have?
Yeah. And actually, they found her, or rather the government, to be in contempt. The Attorney General hasn't resigned yet either, has he? They were found to be in contempt, but actually it is Westminster as a whole that is in contempt of the British people. That's the reality of it. 650 constituencies we have in the UK. 650 constituencies. 650 MPs. Of those, in the referendum, 408 out of 650 constituencies, that's 62.8%, voted to leave. Where is the representation? The contempt is not so much from the government. Oh, yes, it's there. But the worst contempt is from Parliament itself and from the House of Lords, but particularly from Parliament. Yeah, okay, all right. Announcing the delay, May was laughed at by some lawmakers when she said there was broad support for the deal and that she had listened carefully to different views over it. The result of 18 months of tortuous negotiations. If we went ahead and held the vote tomorrow, the deal would be rejected by a significant margin, she told Parliament, adding that she was confident it was the right deal. You know what? It was Bertrand Russell who talked about the arrogance of people that think they're right and everybody else is wrong. Anyway, sterling skidded to its weakest level since April 2017. Okay, all right, okay. We're running out of time here. Nearly out of time, folks. So let me just quickly skim through a few other takes. See if they've got anything, any fresh angle. AP, the latest EU lawmaker on Brexit. No other deal for UK. A key member of the European Parliament's Brexit team says that, so that's one of Barnier's people, says that British Prime Minister Theresa May's Brexit strategy has turned into a game of hide and seek, which will fail to force the EU to renegotiate the UK withdrawal deal. Green MEP Philippe Lamberts told the Associated Press that despite May's claim to seek additional reassurances to the UK, the deal with the EU that has been already struck, no, it hasn't! Apparently not! It's a proposal until it's agreed. There would be no changes awaiting her at Thursday's EU summit. Well, you know what, mate? I don't give a stuff what you think because you're not even British. The Sun Desperate Theresa May scraps Brexit vote and will fly around Europe, begging the EU for a new deal.
Point in time. The leaders.
Is this? Oh, this is live now, going on still in the Commons.
Their inquiries on the more specific and narrow subject matter. Vicky Ford.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Get a little flavour here.
Been put on the agenda of addressing fuel poverty, reducing youth violence, the workings of the courts, and helping endangered species. They're all.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what, love, you're an endangered species at the moment. You and everybody in that bloody chamber. Desperate Theresa May will beg European leaders to save her career after pulling the Commons vote on her Brexit deal. In a humiliating climb down, the PM was forced to admit that her deal, due to be voted on tomorrow, would be rejected by a significant margin by furious MPs. See if the Sun's got anything else here. Anything new? From listening to those views, it is clear. Oh, the PM said, I've listened very carefully to what has been said in this chamber and out of it by members on all sides. They are all members! And their members are on their foreheads! From listening to those views, it is clear that while there is broad support for many of the key aspects of the deal, look, that actually may be true. It is true. But it is all trumped by this veto to the EU. It's all so clear. You know what? Okay, what? Ah, blimey. Ah. There's not really any more to be said, today. Oh, hold on. What's going on there? Is that me? Is that? Oh, I got it. Okay, folks, look, I'll see you tomorrow at 6. This has been Daily Brexit. I'm Olly Connelly. Thank you so much for your comments. God bless you. Splitter, thanks for calling in, man. It's lovely to get some feedback from folks, having a bit of a chat and all that as well. God bless you, man.
Yeah.
More tomorrow, yeah. We'll keep up with developments and I don't know. Maybe I'll rant a bit less. I'll try to be contained. You know, I'll tell you what, though, this is a great comment from Stavros, one of the Axiom Curbers. He says, we won't need Brexit as the Yellow Vest movement is spreading all over. Stav, I completely agree with you, man. I completely agree. This is actually all a bit of panto, really. But that doesn't mean we can't stop fighting, because it's due to what they see from us, for example, that is, spurring the French on, and vice versa. This momentum needs to continue to build. Joe blogs, but then you could argue the People's Vote funded by Soros Open Society could be considered foreign interference. Yes, in British politics. Yet mainstream say nothing. Of course they bloody don't. Don't pay for propaganda, people. Do not pay for propaganda. Everybody has an agenda, yeah. If they're honest about it, that's fair enough. But when they don't, that is propaganda. When they pretend it's news. God bless you all. This has been Daily Brexit. Here's to us and bugger Theresa May. Tomorrow at 6, folks.